There was a man who made $84,000 in only 3 weeks by using a special technique that Neville Goddard shared only in private sessions. When Neville died in 1972, this method disappeared with him, and only a few students ever knew about it. What you are about to learn was never printed in his books or recorded in his public talks. For more than 70 years, only a small circle heard it because the results were so fast and so powerful that Neville wanted to make sure the person learning it was truly ready. Before I explain the exact words you will say tonight before falling asleep, I need you to understand one simple thing. Close your eyes for a few seconds, take a slow breath, and say inside your mind, "I remember when I had no money." It may feel strange, but when you speak about your lack as if it is already in the past, your mind begins to accept that right now your situation is different. Many people feel a small chill in their body when they say it, because something inside them recognizes that this is a deep truth. This short phrase becomes like a signature of the new version of you that you are stepping into. It is a small but powerful act of faith in a method that has helped ordinary people change their financial lives in ways that normally take years. What comes next may challenge everything you believed about manifesting money, so listen with an open heart. Neville Lancelot Goddard was born in 1905 in Barbados. He had 10 brothers and grew up in a traditional Christian home. Even as a young boy, he felt that there was a deeper spiritual truth that people had forgotten. At 17, he left for New York with almost nothing, hoping to become a Broadway performer. Even though the dream seemed impossible, he succeeded. He danced on stages around the world and created a life he had once only imagined. But in the late 1920s, he met a man who completely changed his understanding of life. This man was Abdullah, a Jewish Ethiopian mystic who saw in Neville a natural power to imagine and create reality. For 5 years, Abdullah trained him in ancient teachings about the imagination, the hidden laws of creation, and the mystical meanings found in spiritual traditions. He taught Neville that imagination is not pretend. It is the creative force of the universe itself. In 1938, Neville experienced a miracle that proved everything he had learned. He wanted to go home to Barbados for Christmas, but had no money. Abdullah told him to assume he was already there and to live in that feeling. Neville began lying in his bed in New York each night, but imagining he was lying in his bed in Barbados. He imagined hearing his family, feeling the warm air, and seeing the island. A few days later, out of nowhere, his older brother sent him money and a boat ticket without being asked. Neville realized that what he imagined with feeling had moved into the physical world. From then on, for 40 years, he taught people how their imagination shaped reality. He wrote books, gave thousands of talks, and even had a TV program. But there was one technique he only shared privately, a method he believed was too powerful and too easily misunderstood for the general public. This is the method you are learning now. The technique is a combination of 3 elements. Neville called it something like remembering the future, which sounds impossible, but it works because the subconscious mind does not understand time the way the conscious mind does. To the subconscious, everything is happening now. The first part of the method uses the special state your mind enters right before falling asleep. This is the moment when your body relaxes completely, but your mind is still awake enough to guide your thoughts. Scientists call it the hypnagogic state. Neville said it was the doorway to God. In this state, your mind is open and absorbing, like a child believing anything is possible. The second part is to use this state to remember something that has not happened yet. Instead of imagining your desire in the future, you imagine remembering it as something already completed. This removes the feeling of waiting. It tricks the subconscious into accepting the desired event as a memory, not a goal. The third part is the language itself, the phrase, "I remember when." These words place you mentally in the version of you who already has the thing you want. The man who made $84,000 used this exact method step by step. His name was Tech, and in 1968 he was broke. He had a family to feed and earned only a few dollars a week. After hearing Neville speak, he met him privately and learned this technique. On the first night, Neville told him to sit quietly and let go of any negative feelings toward people who already had money. Neville explained that you cannot attract what you secretly resent. Tech spent a few minutes sending good wishes to the success of others and feeling grateful that their wealth showed that abundance existed for everyone. Then he went to sleep. For the next 21 nights, he practiced the main ritual. He relaxed his whole body, breathed slowly, allowed his mind to reach the edge of sleep, and then imagined it was 6 months later. In this imagined future, he had already won money from horse races. But the important part is that he was not imagining it as something that would happen. He was remembering it as something that had already happened. In his mind, he heard himself saying, "I remember when I had no money. I remember checking the winning numbers. I remember receiving the money." He felt the weight of the tickets in his hand, the sound of the racetrack, the shock turning into joy, the cashier handing him the check. He repeated the scene again and again until he fell asleep inside the memory. During the day, he continued the feeling by speaking as if his financial struggle was already in the past. Instead of thinking he needed money, he thought, "I remember when I needed money." By doing this, he lived mentally in the result, not the lack. After 3 weeks, he went to the racetrack and for the first time in his life felt calm and sure. One race after another, his horses won. The chance of that happening randomly was almost zero. When he went to collect his prize, he received a check for $4,000. The amazing part is that he had imagined cash, not a check. Neville explained that this showed the universe always delivers in the best possible way, even if the details look different. Many other stories like this exist. One woman used the same method to help her sick son when doctors said there was no hope. Instead of begging for healing, she began saying every night, "I remember when he was sick and imagined him healthy." Within a month, the illness disappeared. Modern online communities also share similar stories. A woman in 2025 wrote that she manifested millions by remembering her future. Another woman and her husband won €25,000 after she practiced remembering the future for one night. Neville kept this method hidden because most people think something so simple cannot work. They want complex rituals because complicated instructions allow them to avoid actually doing the work. But the truth is that simple methods require strong belief and consistency, and many people give up quickly. The world outside may tell you that nothing is changing. Your bank account may show the opposite of what you want. People around you may laugh or doubt. That is where most people quit. But the few who persist, even when everything around them denies their desire, are the ones who succeed. Neville died in 1972, but his message remains. He taught that your imagination is the creative power of your life, and that when you assume something with feeling and hold that assumption firmly, it must become physical reality. You are not here by accident. If this message reached you at this moment, it is because you are ready to use it. The universe brings teachings to you when your mind and spirit are prepared. If you choose to accept your new identity, you can begin tonight. Before you buy anything tomorrow, like a lottery ticket, do it with calm confidence, as if you already know the result. Treat the ticket as something precious, and then go home and imagine the future where you are telling the story of how everything changed. Fall asleep in that feeling. Continue for 21 days. Speak as if your old life is already behind you. Persist even when the world seems unchanged, because the world eventually rearranges itself to match the state you hold inside. You are already the future version of yourself who is wealthy and free. You are simply waiting for the physical world to catch up.